What we saw last night in the first press conference from the Biden team was that they are not holding back on moving forward with impeachment.
Just like the American people can, the Senate can also multitask, and they can do their constitutional duty while continuing to conduct the business of the American people. He's going to leave the mechanics, the timing, and the specifics of how Congress moves forward on impeachment to them.
Some people are saying she didn't answer the question. I think she did. I think she said there's going to be an impeachment trial, and they could do it at the same time they're working on COVID relief. Now, what we don't know yet, though, is that if the Senate parliamentarian has actually come back with a ruling saying that they can have an impeachment trial and continue on other business of the Senate.
There's enough legal cover, if you will, or political cover, if you want to call it that, constitutional protection cover, that Joe Biden can say, hey, look, this is a close question to begin with, and I got an administration to run. I got to get this country on track. I got to get these vaccines out. Why are we doing this?
They're trying to lean on a ruling from the parliamentarian that they can, in the words of President Biden, bifurcate the day and do legislative and executive business in the morning and then move to the impeachment in the afternoon. And Jordan, in theory, while there's a way to get there, and maybe they do get there, that's definitely not the default that's laid out in the Senate impeachment rules. Rule number 3 and rule number 13 both issue a time for the start. You mentioned the 1 o'clock time for after they receive the articles, but Rule 13 says that subsequent days, unless the Senate overrides it, it will begin at noon and they will stay in session until they are finished.
Joe Biden should take a page out of his 1999 memorandum to the Democratic caucus, and I quote, "The framers did not mean that this political process, meaning impeachment, was to be a partisan process. Instead, they meant for it to be political in the higher," and that's in quote, "sense. The process was to be conducted in a way that would best secure the public interest, or in their phrase, quote, the general welfare." That's Joe Biden in 1999 to the Democratic caucus.
The general welfare here would be get on with the business of government and not do this, not impeach a president who's no longer in office.
There's already an example of how this impeachment is impeding the work of the U.S. Senate.
These nomination hearings for President Biden's nominees, what they're seeing is Republicans chairing those hearings, Jordan. Yeah, you heard it right. Republicans are chairing these hearings, and the reason for that is Leader Schumer is now the majority leader of the United States Senate, but they're so caught up on arguing about the procedures of a pending impeachment and the other organizing resolutions, they have not been able to come to agreement. So, Jordan, on many of these committees, it's the ratios from the last Congress, which has Republicans occupying the most seats in committees, that is holding, and Republicans continue to chair these hearings. So, look, I only say that, Jordan, to say if I'm President Biden, I want this to be over so that I can truly have the Senate. They don't truly have the Senate at this moment.
You're seeing Joe Biden's administration being impeded by Donald Trump.
Think about that for a minute. I mean, just think about that for a minute.
And it goes to what he said, which is that obsession.
Why would I waste time letting Republicans stay in leadership positions when, in fact, I have the majority?
I really think this is as much about 2022 as it is about 2024. But look, in the meantime, Chairman Wicker is chairing the hearing right now for the nomination of Pete Buttigieg to be Transportation Secretary. That's the price they're paying for focusing on the political ramifications rather than the governing apparatus.
If you look at the scholarship, Andy, you could argue it this way, you can argue it that way. But then if you put in what Wes is saying, the practicality, and then if you're Joe Biden trying to get your people to even chair the committees,
right?
You put all of that in and COVID, okay? You put all of that in the mix, and don't you say to yourself, for the sake of the country, this is not worth doing, and we do have a legitimate constitutional basis for saying no.